of the World Chess Championship. In Game 3 we saw a draw, but we saw a resurgent Liren. We saw him feeling better at the board, more confident. He said so at the press conference, and he played a solid game. Now he has the white pieces. I guess we now find out if he has fully bounced back from the early setback. So Liren, 1 game behind. Jan Nepomniachtchi won Game 2. So let's see what happened here in game number 4. So Liren opened up with c4, the English opening. This has been, well, one of Ding's main openings in recent years. The English opening, an opening that can be very rich in strategic ideas and suits his style. Knight f6, the most principled move is e5, but knight f6 is sort of a waiting move. After knight c3 we see e5 anyway. So white kind of had a choice here. He could have switched into a d4 opening, which Nepo probably likes, then he has more preparation. We could play knight f3, but then the game has a different character. So knight c3 is the pure English move, and e5 we have the English opening. Knight f3, knight c6, and e3. So basically the English opening at times is the Sicilian with colors reversed. And after bishop b4 we have kind of a type of Rossolimo with colors reversed. Rossolimo is bishop b5 in the Sicilian. So queen c2 by white, and black now takes on c3. Now one would think that the idea by playing queen c2 is to take the bishop with the queen, avoid your pawns being doubled, but Ding takes with the b pawn. And this is also a recent trend and a booked move, as you can see. The thing is, well, queen takes c3 is not a bad move, but it's been sort of established that black gets very fast and rapid development here. And after queen e7 and an early d5, so white prefers to take with a pawn, sort of try to keep more central control. He has indeed damaged the structure, but on the other hand, we do have a nice central control. So black castles here. e4 looks tempting, but the pawn could also become a target immediately after knight g5. Maybe white breaks and gets a very nice center. So d6, more restrained play here by Nepo, and Ding takes the center with e4. So making use of this queen c2 move. Castles, bishop to e2, knight h5. And now white continues to take the center. I mean, knight f4 is the obvious idea, but white simply ignores it. He allows it. After knight f4 he takes it, and pawn takes. Now we are on move 10. And I think this is significant because I found one game in the database with this position and with the white pieces, Richard Rapport. And it's well known that Richard Rapport is now one of the seconds or assistants to Ding in this World Championship match. So it's clear that he is having an influence here on the openings. Well, Richard did play h4 in his game against Saragatsky, but here Ding goes for castles, which is the computer-approved move, and the computer values this as at about a half a pawn advantage for white. White does have a very strong central influence here with the pawns, and probably it's easier to play white with the space. Black is sort of waiting, doesn't really have a good pawn break. So let's see what happens. Queen f6, piece play. Like I said, difficult to do something with the pawns just yet, actually for both sides. But white just centralizes the rook. Bishop d3, adding further protection to this important pawn here. Bishop d4. Now white doesn't want to get his pawn doubled further, so knight d2. Knight a5. Knight on the rim is dim. Maybe white had a concrete idea, maybe to play queen a4 here, try to create some weaknesses. Black has to go b6, f3, and well, the game is strategically complex. But Ding goes for an interesting idea. He plays c5, a very dynamic move. And yeah, Ding seems to be at home in these strategically complex positions. And after c5, well, if black does nothing, white will just take on d6, get rid of the double pawn, and keep his central pawn advantage. So black takes, but now we see the dynamic idea. It is to play e5 and advance these pawns even further, get a very strong center. Now we opened up this battery here of the queen and the bishop. So black protects this pawn by going queen h6, And now d5, of course, the idea. So now it's black with double pawns, but he does have an extra pawn. Rook a to d8, hits the pawn, and c4 naturally protects the pawn. So white has sacked the pawn, but a very strong pawn here. And this knight on the rim, it's not influencing the game, well, in any way at the moment. So b6 at least attempts to bring the knight back in some way at some point. h3, bishop retreats, bishop to e4, and this indirectly defends the pawn. If you take, I still have bishop takes h7, swap the queens and then take the rook. So rook e7, queen c3, protecting the pawn. And now I have to move the bishop away to add further protection to the pawn. Now the knight finally tries to get back into the game. Knight b7, rook e2. Well, Ding just wants to add further protection to the pawn. And now f6. A big decision. Maybe black has to wait around a little bit more. But f6 is a very big and committal strategical decision, because white now gets a protected pass pawn on e6. The upside for black is that the knight on d6 is a very strong piece. It's well known that the knight in front of a pawn as a blockader is very strong because it stops the pawn, blocks your opponent, but also the knight has a lot of influence from behind the pawn. But again, pluses and minuses, so interesting and strategical game. This is what we like to see. Rook a to e1, knight f5, and now Ding takes on h5. And one wonders why black is releasing this nice knight on d6. Rook e4, targeting the pawn on f4. Black protects it, and now white tries to attack it. And here comes a move that probably is a blunder. And Anis Kirio was wondering why is black panicking here? Why doesn't he just play g5, try to protect? The queen comes back to g6 at some point. The knight can, jump back to d6. I think most people will take white because of, the strong pawn and the passive black rooks here. But was there a need for black to panic? Who knows? But knight d4 turns out to be perhaps a decisive mistake. And Ding didn't take long here. He took this knight. And the idea is not too difficult to see. He does give up the exchange, but this knight is becoming a monster. He's going to take this pawn here, and from there he can go to c6, or even better, he can go to f5. g5 was played. Well, probably not the best. So very often it happens when you play a bad move and you blunder, you don't follow it up too great. And here, of course, with g5, black is sort of giving away control of the f5 square. So don't think this is a good move. Knight takes d4, queen g6, trying to keep control of this square. But Ding plays a very strong positional move here. He plays g4. The idea is I want this knight on f5. If you don't take my pawn en passant, I do have control of f5. And if you do take it, I open up for the queen, and I still have control of the square. So that's what happened. h5, knight to f5. Beautiful knight. Nepo tried to keep the material, but the white position is just too strong. The knight on f5, the pawn on e6. And the passivity of the black heavy pieces. I mean, if you're up material, you have a rook for a knight, you need some open lines, you need the rooks to be active, but here they're just passive, waiting along. So it's just a matter of time here. Now, Ding pushed the pawn. Nepo tried to hold on, but now he's losing the exchange back. If you don't take, then d7 is coming, so you must take. And now, white has regained the material. Equal material, but this pawn is worth too much. It keeps the black pieces passive. And this is just a winning advantage now for white. Okay, Nepo tried to prolong the game. Rook f1, rook h6, at least holding on for now. But rook to d1. Now the threat is simply to come here to d8 and the queen the pawn. So okay, try to do something, attack the queen. But check. Then we take a pawn. We enter on h7. And queen g7. Now if you take the pawn, I have this one. And after this move, queen f8 and resignation on the board. A nice variation would be rook g8, rook to d8, and the position collapses for black. So a very nice win by Ding, who now equalizes the score. It's 2-2. It's a best of 10 now. And I guess this is what people were rooting for. You know, wins back and forth, an exciting match, and preferably going down the wire. So it looks like we're going to have that, and I hope we do. And I'll see you in the next game. Rest day tomorrow. Game 5 on Saturday. Yeah, we're going to have a good weekend. See you then. Bye-bye.